Hi, gang. Bob Boving here for the Mystery Project and the newest episode of Clean Sweep. Deadly threats are something still foreign to Bonnie Marsden in spite of her involvement in dangerous situations. But now the gloves are off, and she faces the real possibility of her own murder. The play is called I'll Be Seeing You, written by John Abelard. Deborah Allen and Richard Donat star as Bonnie and Ben Marsden.
Just stand right there, Sammy, till I come around to get you.
Sure, Jack, whatever.
Keep it down. Don't want to get the surprise away. A few pulls off a free rum bottle and you can hardly stand up. Oh, the youth of today. All right. Start walking. I'll be right behind you. Just walk straight up to the trailer. As straight as you can. And knock on the door.
What if they won't let me in?
Don't worry. Once they open the door a crack, I'll push you in.
But,
Sammy, didn't your mother ever tell you it's not polite to ask questions of people who've got loaded pistols against your back? You just do what they tell you. Once I'm inside, you can take off, back out the door, and keep on going. This is between Howie and me.
Are you ready for bed, honey?
Always.
We gotta stock up on memories. Pretty soon I'm going to be missing you for a long time.
Not as much as I'd be missing you. But it might not happen. I think there just might be a way out of it.
Who'd be coming around at this time of night?
Oh, it's Sam.
Oh, hell, don't let him in.
I'll just go see what he wants.
You know what he wants, but he can't have it anymore.
Hi, Howie.
What do you want, Sam? What the hell do you think you're...
You can't come in here, Sam.
Hello, Howie. Hi, Carol. Long time no see.
Jack, You know I wouldn't.
Wouldn't what, Howie? You two just sit on the couch where you're cuddling, and we'll have ourselves a little conversation.
You said I could go once
Oh, you're going all right, Sammy.
Jack, don't!
Consider this your gun now, Sammy. No, really, I want you to have it. Let's see if you can hit the couch from here.
That old show is weird.
It was pretty weird when it was new. Time you started getting ready for bed.
Oh, okay.
Probably Mrs. Parker calling to say I didn't do a good enough job scrubbing under her sink. I'll come tuck you in.
Okay.
Hello?
Mrs. Marsden, it's Corporal Kowalchuk.
Oh, hello, Corporal.
I've been given some information I think you and your husband should be made aware of.
Ben isn't here.
Oh, I see.
He's still living up at John McGuigan's hunting camp. There's no phone there, but I could get a message passed on to him if it's important.
It probably won't affect either of you at all. Just thought you should know. I should have been informed 2 weeks ago, but only found out by accident. It concerns Jack Burton.
What about him?
He hired a very expensive lawyer who dug up grounds for an appeal, so he's out on bail pending the outcome.
He's out? I gave you his out-and-out confession on tape.
But now it may be inadmissible. The appeal is on the grounds that his charter rights were violated by you taping him without his knowledge.
His rights? He cremated Billy Vickers alive and then joked about it.
The appeal likely won't last past a preliminary hearing, so he won't be at large for long. In all probability, you and Ben won't even be asked to testify again.
Corporal, those 3 young people who were shot to death in Butcher's Corners last week.
The murder-suicide.
Didn't I read in the papers that one of them was up on charges for a hydroponic marijuana operation?
Howard McCandless was awaiting trial. We had no direct evidence against Samuel Washburn or Carol O'Neill, but we had our suspicions.
And one of Jack Burton's businesses was financing grow houses. The reason he killed Billy Vickers was because the poor kid was the gopher at one of those grow houses. And when the place got busted, Billy started naming names. Too many names.
Yes, well, in this case, the impending drug charges would be purely coincidence. The situation in Butcher's Corners was, unfortunately, classic circumstances for a murder-suicide. Samuel Washburn's best friend ran off with his common-law wife. The other night, Samuel Washburn got drunk, got his hands on a gun, burst into their trailer and shot the two of them, then put the pistol to his temple and pulled the trigger.
Or maybe someone else shot all three of them. That's how Jack Burton operates, isn't it? Accidents and coincidences. Like it was just an accident that Billy Vickers' old beater of a car caught on fire with Billy Vickers in it. And just coincidence that he happened to be a witness against Jack Burton. And Ben and I are the only witnesses who can back up that taped confession.
That's why I called you. But I want to assure you that the incident in Butcher's Corners was a murder-suicide. There were powder burns on Samuel Washburn's forehead.
But that could still be...
Before you get too alarmed, Bonnie, let me tell you the rest about Jack Burton. The reason I called was so you wouldn't hear just half the story somewhere and think you and Ben had reason to worry. Jack Burton was serving his sentence at Kingston Penitentiary in Ontario. There are other charges pending against him in Ontario to do with the stolen car ring, so one of his bail conditions is that he can't leave the city of Kingston without police permission. He has to report to a parole officer twice a week.
That'd still give him 3 or 4 days to fly back and forth to Halifax.
And, unknown to Mr. Burton, he is under police surveillance on the days he doesn't have to report. Now that the superintendent's office finally thought to inform me of the situation, I've contacted the Kingston Police Department, and they've agreed to contact me if Jack Burton should drop out of sight. So until and unless you hear different from me, there's nothing for you to worry about.
Corporal, you told me there were powder burns on Sam Washburn's forehead. But was there blood on his hand and arm?
Come again?
Well, if he pressed the gun to his temple and pulled the trigger, there'd be blood all over his hand and arm, wouldn't there?
I'm sure there was.
Are you sure? With such an obvious cut-and-dried murder-suicide, who'd think to notice?
I didn't notice, but then it wasn't my case. All I did was secure the area for the homicide detectives. I'm sure they investigated thoroughly.
I'm sure they did too, but maybe nobody'd think to imagine about that detail unless they had as much reason to be as nervous as me.
I guess I could request the photos of the scene be shipped back from Halifax and see if I can see if that'd make you feel safer. I don't know when I'll be able to get to it. I'll try, Bonnie.
When you can, thanks. And thanks for calling.
Last fall, you put yourself in jeopardy to hand me Jack Burton on a platter. The least I can do is let you know how the case is proceeding.
Well, I'm probably making you work overtime just because my imagination's working overtime. But I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Morning, Corporal.
Good morning, Ben. Your friend seems to be allergic to police officers. He took off out the back door awfully fast.
Oh, John had to run to the John. Plumbing's back in the woods.
He seemed to be carrying something.
Probably bathroom tissue.
Well, I didn't come here looking for anything, but to... Did Bonnie pass on the information about Jack Burton?
I got her message, yeah.
The Kingston police assure me that he's never left their jurisdiction, but...
But you're not so sure.
I'm sure they're being methodical, but your wife has been right before when all the evidence seemed to point in another direction. The murder-suicide in Butcher's Corners happened 2 days after one of Jack Burton's parole officer appointments, and 2 days before the next one. I don't have enough manpower to put a watch on your home, and I can't request outside assistance on a hunch. Budget restraints.
Budget restraints? We're talking about a goddamn maniac coming after my wife, and you're talking about budgets?
I don't know that Jack Burton has ever violated his parole. He has made no verbal threats. Has he?
Well, he wouldn't, would he? Fella'd have to be an idiot to tell people he's going to kill them.
So I have no hard evidence of any impending situation. All the information I'm getting is secondhand. I can make sure that the constable on night patrol passes by your house whenever he can, but
otherwise, me and Bonnie are on our own.
I'm only a phone call away. At any given moment, the duty constables might be occupied at the other end of the county, but I've instructed the dispatcher to inform me immediately of any 911 call from your number, even when I'm off duty.
What's your response time?
If I'm at home asleep, from my place to yours, maybe 20 minutes.
Yeah. Looks like I'll be sleeping back at home the next little while. If it's okay with Bonnie.
Why wouldn't it be? I guess that's none of my business.
No. Nothing personal, Corporal, but it's just something between me and Bonnie. Anyway, looks like we're going to have to live together until Jack Burton's back in jail. I got some work on today, but nothing's going to happen in daylight.
Probably nothing's going to happen at all. I'm probably just agitating your life because my imagination's working overtime. But there's a message you can pass on to Bonnie for me. She'll know what it means.
What's that?
Well, it could have just been the angle of the photographs or the light, but there was no blood on Samuel Washburn's hand.
Is it still Kraft dinner if we're having it for supper?
Well, if we put sausage in it, it's Kraft supper.
Oh. I hear something in the driveway.
No, I don't think so, honey. Clyde'd be barking his head off.
It's Daddy. He's coming in. Daddy.
Oh, hello, Pumpkin.
What do you want, Ben?
Your friend, Corporal Kowalchuk, asked me to pass a message on to you.
Right. Melissa, go downstairs and watch TV for a while. I'll hold up on supper.
But
I'll still be here, Pumpkin.
call me, all right?
In a while, honey. Thanks. So, what was the message?
He said there was no blood on Sam Washburn's hands.
Oh, God.
I'm just trying to remember where I put the keys to the gun box.
On top of the kitchen cupboard, because no one else can reach.
Oh. Yeah. I never was much of a shot.
Better than me.
So I figured shotgun's the best bet. I only keep birdshot on hand, but John McGuigan had a half a box of buckshot shells laying around. Do you remember how to work the pump action? Just in case?
Back and forth and pull the trigger.
Yeah, I don't like having a loaded gun around the house, but I'll put it on top of the fridge.
I'll make Melissa promise not to go near it.
Not go near the fridge. Well, I'll unload it and put it away tomorrow morning. Take it out again when dark comes down tomorrow night.
How many nights do you plan on coming back?
As many as it takes. Till we know for sure Jack Burton's back in jail. Days when I ain't got work on, I'll catch up on my sleep on the living room couch.
It's going to be confusing for Melissa. She's been confused enough the last 5 weeks.
Well, I'm sorry, but I can't help that. You made your choice.
I'm not the one that walked out.
I mean, you made the choice to call the Mounties on an innocent man.
Charlie Warner wasn't innocent.
Well, that's the way you see it. Seems like you and me have come to see a lot of things different. But there's only one way to see the situation we're in now.
Not just you and me. If Jack Burton is going around tying up loose ends, Melissa'd be here too.
Yeah.
Oh, it's too late today. Maybe tomorrow I should call Muriel and get her to take Melissa overnight for the next little while. I'd have to come up with a good story for Melissa.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And Darcy was planning to come home when she gets a couple of days off next week. I'll think of some excuse to keep her away.
Well, maybe it'll all be over by then.
I hope so. It's crazy. We've got laws and police and a whole system to protect us. And here we're sitting in our kitchen hugging a shotgun.
The police and the laws are real good at cleaning up messes after they happen.
How did we get into this mess? I should have listened to you.
When? What do you mean?
Back when you were doing that horrible 6 weeks in jail because you wouldn't tell the police where you got that little bottle of moonshine? The last time I came to visit you before you got out, I was telling you about a couple of strange things that had been going on in Membertou County while you'd been away. Did you hear what happened to Billy Vickers?
You mean about his accident?
You don't think it was an accident?
I don't know anything more about it than what they said on the news. But it isn't hard to set a car on fire, and it don't leave much evidence. You remember when we heard some of the other names Billy Vickers was talking about, and I said the kid'd be better off staying in jail?
It wasn't some of the other names. It was only one. Jack Burton.
You don't have to shout it. I should have known better to think you'd only remember in general.
Who is he?
He's just a guy that runs a little body shop in Bedford, and probably a few other businesses you don't find in the yellow pages. I only met him the once, and he scared the bejesus out of me.
But I had to be so clever and set up a meeting with Jack Burton without telling you. Bring along Melissa's toy pen tape recorder in case I could trick him into bragging about killing Billy Vickers. If you hadn't snuck along behind me and brought a baseball bat, he might have killed me.
If I'd hit him a little harder, we wouldn't be in this mess.
And you'd be in another kind of mess. And if I'd listened to you in the first place, we wouldn't be sitting here sweating bullets because we think Jack Burton's out of jail.
If you'd listened to me, Jack Burton wouldn't have been in jail. And God knows how much damage he could have done to other people before he got caught. If he ever got caught. That was a damn brave thing you did.
Well, but we're playing way out of our league.
No kidding. We'll do all right. And after you and Melissa have gone to sleep, I'll sit up in the kitchen all night.
I'll probably be jerking awake every 15 seconds anyway.
Well, most probably what happened to Butcher's Corners happened just like the paper said it did. And the no blood on the hand was just a fluke.
Most probably. After we bring Clyde in for supper, I'll put him back on the line all night.
A good idea. And you can take my fire pager with you when you go to bed. I'll turn the volume off so you won't get woke up if there's a fire call, but... You know where the emergency button is?
Yes. In case something happens to you?
Yeah. Worst comes to worst, it's not likely the phone will work.
Right. He'll cut the line.
Keep your eyes on the puck, Marsden. Can't see a damn thing.
I'll be singing in all the old familiar places that my heart and mind embraces all day through.
Ben!
What?
There's something out there. I'm going to call 911.
Oh, Jesus, Bonnie, we can't go calling the Mounties every time Clyde starts barking at something in the dark.
This is different.
Maybe. Maybe not. I can't see a damn thing out there but shadows.
I'll turn on the yard light.
No. Second the yard light comes on, he'll sit down and look at the house, and we won't see what direction he was barking in. I'll take the flashlight.
And the shotgun.
I only got 2 hands. Stumble around in the dark, I'll probably blow my own head off. It could be just a fox. Or a stray cat.
But it's not.
No. I don't think so.
Be careful.
Oh, yeah. And take care of that shotgun. And lock the door after me. What's going on, buddy? What do you smell?
I'm seeing you, Ben Marsden. Don't shine that light in my direction. Point it at the woods. I'm out of the dog's range, but you're in mine. Yeah, I figured if the dog went on long and loud enough, you'd come out to look around. Come talk to me, Ben. And point the light toward the house. The flashlight's nice. Makes it hard to see the two of us.
Nice gun. The police told us you're still 1,000 miles away.
I got a brother looks like me. I show up in person for my dates with the parole officer, then hop on a plane and make little visits home. You should see my air mile points, except they're all in phony names. Hell of a waste.
Little visits like to Butch's Corners last week.
Yeah. I figured your nosy little wifey might suss that out. Kind of hoped she would. But the police don't buy it, do they?
She's got 'em wondering.
Yeah, but not very hard. You know, I still get headaches where you clock me with the baseball bat. Let's go see what the inside of your house looks like, Ben. We'll take the long way around, outside the circuit of the dog. Doesn't your damn dog ever shut up?
Floyd, it's all right. Floyd, take it easy, Floyd.
Why is he calling Clyde Floyd? Floyd's dead.
Go over to the light switch for the yard, honey.
Okay.
But don't turn it on until I tell you. For now, just put your hand on it. You got your hand on it?
Yes, Mommy.
Good. Now, keep your hand on it, and when I say now, you flick the switch. Can you do that for me, Melissa?
Yes, Mommy.
Good girl.
I don't like being in jail, Ben. I bet you didn't either.
No.
And I already been in one hell of a lot longer than you were. I don't want to go back.
Well, hard to avoid, after those 3 in Butcher's Corner?
That was to keep them from tossing my name around. But they had another use, too. Without you and Bonnie's testimony to back up that cheesy little tape, there's a good chance I won't have to go back.
You think the police won't be able to figure that out? And the coincidence with Butcher's Corners?
No coincidence at all. Different circumstances entirely, but another truly triangular situation. You and Bonnie feuding gave me the perfect setup. Estranged husband builds up frustration and possessiveness, barges back into his old home, shoots wife and children, and then himself. Happens every day. I didn't tell you to stop walking.
Well, maybe you don't think you did, but you did.
Ben, what I got pressed to the side of your head isn't my finger or a Coke bottle.
I know. But if you pull the trigger now, Bonnie hits the 911 button on the phone and the emergency button on my volunteer fire department pager. And before you can break down the door, that driveway will be filled with vehicles and flashing lights.
I can move awful fast when I have to. The police experts will figure the emergency was you breaking down the door, and that you came outside to do the suicide after the homicides. I'll probably even have time to shoot your damn dog before I light out through the woods. Whether you walk me to the door or not won't make any damn difference at all.
Maybe. But at least I'll have a chance.
Do you want to die?
Nope. But this is as far as I go.
You stupid. Damn. What the hell? Oh!
two can finally get some sleep. Did Melissa settle down okay?
Yes, thank God.
The inquest should be just a formality, but someone is bound to ask why you shot Jack Burton 3 times.
Well, the first time I shot too wide to make sure I didn't hit Ben. When I saw I just winged him, I got scared and just kept pumping and firing.
He had a gun. She wanted to make sure.
If anyone has any trouble understanding that, I'll just point out Jack Burton's record. Well, he's dead now. You can come down to the detachment any time tomorrow and give your statements. Good night.
Bonnie, I know we've had our differences, and right now is not the time for me to try taking anything out. But I was just wondering if it'd be all right if I kissed you goodnight.
You have just heard I'll Be Seeing You, written by John Abelard, the newest episode of Clean Sweep. In the cast, Deborah Allen was Bonnie Marsden, and Richard Donat was her husband, Ben. The others in the cast were John K. Loverin as Jack Burton, Michael Pellerin as Corporal Kowalchuk, Ashley Swain as Melissa, Matthew Ritchie as Sam Washburn, Sean Jollymore as Howie McCandless, and Sarah Jane Blankhorn as Carol McNeil. The music was composed by Scott McMillan and David McIsaac, and was performed by Gordon Stovey, Jamie Gatty, and Andre Lacroix, along with the two composers. The recording engineer was Pat Martin. Sound effects, Dermot Kenny. The associate producer was Peggy Hemsworth. Casting was by John Dunsworth and Alex Duncan. Clean Sweep was produced and directed in CBC Radio's Halifax Production Center by Bill Howell, the executive producer of the Mystery Project. Our coordinating producer is Barry Morgan. I'm Bob Boving, thanking you for listening and inviting your comments.